Ankush, we can
Yeah, we
admit
can admit.
Vinna. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hello. Good evening. Winnie ma'am, are you there?
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Good evening. Yes. Sorry for keeping you and other two person in the waiting room. Actually, the
No
previous session
worries.
was on in the same link. So,
No
yeah.
worries.
Welcome to the RISE PECOWorld Summit. And
Thank
we will
you.
be starting in a minute. Has
Sure.
Nitin joined the call? Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Great.
Yes.
Yes, hi
Hi,
Winnie.
Neelam. Hi, Neelam. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Neelam, can I start with the video?
Yes, you can start with the video.
Okay.
Thank you, Shiv.
Thank you so much. So this is our standard video which we play at the starting of any session or workshop or roundtable to welcome all the guests and participants. Yeah, so I'll request Neelam to just introduce the speaker and then hand it over to her.
Yep. Thank you, Shilpa. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce the speaker, Dr. Winnie Bajaria. She is a wellness practitioner and a medical practitioner and wellness professional who is bringing a holistic approach to health, emotional well-being for an individuals, and she also helps people to have self-awareness through it, and also does it through sustainable wellness practice. Welcome, Winnie. Welcome to the session.
Thank you so much, Neelam. Uh, Thank you so much for extending this opportunity because it's what do I say? Like I started off with training in MBBS, and over time I realized that what I truly wanted was impacting the quality of life that people have to ensure that they are well regulated, they live happier, fuller lives. If our bodies are well regulated, if our nervous systems are well regulated, it is it is more likely that we will stay healthy. Like, we always say that our ancestors were healthier and volog, the quality, the life expectancy was higher. And these days we hear so much about burnout. We hear so much about lifestyle illnesses. We hear so much about people actually dealing with health issues which might not be very uh, are not classified as emergency, but at the same time impact how people live their lives, how people relate to each other. The stress levels have shot up significantly, and our ecosystem definitely is something that we cannot control. We cannot control the pace at which the world works or what it requires of us, but we can definitely regulate ourselves the way we interact with the world. So that's the core of my work, which is why I have also added this. And I focus mainly on nervous regulation, wellness. I focus mainly on self awareness. And it's not just generic. Human design, I'm extremely passionate about because it sort of gives you a roadmap into looking at ourselves. And when we are also discovering what our true strengths are, we're also seeing it play out in real life. So it is really a very dynamic interaction between self-awareness and how we are expressing it in the outside world, because that's where we truly live. We don't live inside of our heads. We live with respect to or in relationship with people. We live in relationship with our vocation. So it was a it's a very ambitious vision that I have, where everything blends into each other, everything balances, and people can really live fuller lives. They're satisfied, they're more peaceful, they feel accomplished. It's not about have it's not about matching up to any external standard, but it is about living in accordance with your own truth. So thank you so much, Neelam, for this, for giving me a chance to spread word about this. I really hope you all get a glimpse of what is human design. I'll give you places where you can take your exploration further. You're always welcome to circle back through the platform. And there's lots available out there which you can begin with. Give it time, is all I'll say, because this is not a quick fix. This is how you develop a relationship with your own true self. So give it time, give it, give it a chance, is all I'll say, because it's quite new in our sphere. And yeah, so we'll just begin. We'll let human design do the talking. Okay, and why entrepreneurs is because traditionally people look at jobs as a safety net, right? Like it's something where you go, you get your payroll, you're expected to do something, you execute certain tasks, certain functions, you do that. But entrepreneurship, on the other hand, requires something very different of you. It requires you to act without knowing where you will go next. There is a lot of uncertainty. So it's an amazing journey which can help you connect with yourselves. Right? Neela, may I get the screen share?
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah.
yes, Vinny, now you can share.
Yeah. Yes, okay. Okay, so we're a very cozy group of, say, 5 of us. So do I have your permission? Can we make it a little more interactive and personal since we have the space to do that?
Yes, yeah, we can.
Yeah, I would love if you all can just put your cameras on, and I'm able to connect to you, if possible. And you all can always drop, your replies in the chat box. So for all of us here is, have you all, one second. Have you all come across human design before? Has anybody heard of it?
No, not me.
No. Okay. So I'll tell you about the system, but I'll tell you why it's important. So I've named it Business Beyond Burnout. business is essentially everything we do with our life. That's why anything and everything is basically we invest ourselves in it, whether it's an activity, whether it's your vocation, that becomes business. And especially when we're doing something as a vocation where our livelihood depends upon, we do tend to invest a lot of ourselves in that energy wise. So the whole idea is to use human design so that we thrive. The growth does not come at a cost of our health or our energy, our well-being, any of that. Right? So like we said, our life is full of relationships, our work, our friendships, who we are and how we relate to ourselves, what we tell ourselves, what we believe about ourselves. Not what someone else has told us, but what we truly are at our core. Are we living in alignment with how we are designed to function? So not all of us are the same. All of us have our own way of looking at things. All of us have our own energy system, the way our energy moves and leads us into this world, how we interact with people, how our energy pans out, how does it lead us ahead. So we've never been told that, what is right for you is probably not applicable to someone else. Generally, when we come into the wellness sphere or the growth sphere, we have certain strategies. But these need not, these generic strategies need not be applicable to everyone. So when we know how we are designed to function and we strive to align to ourselves, then what happens is obstacles become challenges rather than challenges becoming obstacles. You don't push yourself uphill unnecessarily, right? So, and entrepreneurship is so much more. Like entrepreneurs have some vision. There is a reason why they're out there doing what they do. Um, so it puts you as a person, it puts your innate assets, your personality, it puts your abilities to test every other day. So, how you take decisions, how you move ahead, how do you actually navigate and take the next step towards growth, how you manage through the uncertainty. Initially, entrepreneurship tests that, and at every phase of growth, when you take the next leap, when you decide, when you know your own inner decision making strategy, it becomes easier to take the next call. Right. So when we adopt strategies, okay, let me just give examples so that it becomes easy. So when I was teaching a particular modality, I just thought in my head that this is amazing and it would do people a lot of good. And no one had actually asked to learn that from me. So I just uh, learned it, took the license, and I started posting online. And guess what? Maybe, in a year, a couple of people probably turned up to learn, and that's all I could contribute there. So when I came to human design, I looked back and saw how I approached the entire process, and it was way off for my energy. So when I started auto-correcting all of this, in the sense that I started looking at a different way, a different approach to do the same things started easing up for me a lot. I started getting better results. There was more alignment. So this the famous alignment word that we keep hearing, that started happening. So I was putting in effort and I was seeing that effort fructify. So so when we start forcing ourselves, that's when we get tired because we're doing things and we're not seeing the results that we require. Right. So this is like, climbing uphill but not really getting anywhere. So that is misalignment.
Dr. Vinny, there's a question from Delnaz
Yes.
in the chat.
Yes.
At what point in time do you realize that you need to align, and how do we get more aware about it?
At what point? Okay, 1 second. Let me just read it as well.
At what point in time do you realize that you need to align, and how do we got more
How do
aware?
we get more aware? How do we get more aware is something I will be touching upon towards the end. And at what time do you realize that you need to align is, again, when we speak about not self, I will touch upon that. Right? Thank you for your patience. I'm going to cover that. So over time, we see that, so all of these are also pointers, we're exhausted. We are not really excited about showing up for work. We feel, we feel unmotivated. And that feeling that, I don't feel like going to work is sitting looming over our heads. That is exactly when it's beyond those Monday morning blues, overthinking loops, wanting to know, okay, when I commit to this, what returns will I get? So risk taking also, somewhere you become averse to it. Of course, everything, you have your own process, but you dread going into unfamiliar zones. So all of this, sort of starts becoming a loop at times. It might not be anything major, but it can be something that's, very subtle, but it's there in the background. So this is what we call burnout. Burnout is not your regular tiredness or fatigue. Burnout is when you're constantly not able to recover back. You're not able to bounce back to what you were. Everything that happens sort of feels like it is leaving an impression and you can't go back. You wake up tired, you drag yourself throughout the day. Of course, like it need not be very dramatic, but just very subtle. There's irritation, there's overwhelm, or there's mental fatigue. So that is, um, you start seeing all of this. You're not very happy, you're not very excited about things in general. You don't start noticing, you stop noticing things around you, right? So what we look at here is burnout. Burnout is not necessarily a workload problem, but it is an alignment problem. How we assign our energies to our tasks. And again, we'll sort of touch upon that later. So what we're seeing is why we need to be aligned in the first place, because the more we are aligned with our energies, with our nervous systems, we are able to bounce back easier and faster, right?
Yeah.
So imagine there are two people who have the same situation, but the way they relate to the situation and the way their internal experience of the same thing can be entirely different, right? Some people thrive on uncertainty. Some people need absolute certainty before they decided to do something. Some people value safety and security. Some people value the high of taking a risk or initiating something, not knowing where it goes. That might be okay with them. So everybody is different. And when they are able to, use that and leverage that, things become way easier for them. Okay. So there are certain things I would like we just take a couple of minutes to reflect. Is there something that feels offers, is there something that you feel could be working out better for you in your work? You can just type out or unmute. I don't know if Neelam can help you with that.
Yeah, they can unmute and answer.
Okay, Delnaz, you're asking, in this journey, where does acceptance come? Does it help you be more aligned and aware? So first, the way I see acceptance, or what I'm understanding of acceptance is, do you mean that by acceptance you are acknowledging things as they are, that this is the situation, or this is how I'm meant to function? So really, what is acceptance here? What are we referring to? So if you look at acceptance as accepting who you are as a person, or accepting your traits, then yes, once we acknowledge them, then we can leverage them further. So it is definitely it is a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What your question, Vinny ji?
Okay, is there anything that you feel that you want to change? Anything you're struggling with? Like, with the way I'm listening to what Delnaz is saying, is she's somebody who observes life, who reflects on things pretty closely. Right, Delnaz? You do tend to relate to life through an internal process. You want to understand deeply, you connect to life deeply, right? So this is what I understand about your process. So is there something that's going on with you all that would, that you would like to understand better through this lens? If you don't want to share, you can just write it down. That's also fine. So just like a few things that in your work, where am I running on empty? Meaning that you have forgotten why you're doing that task in the first place, right? We begin everything with some vision. Like whenever we're solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, or self-employed, whatever you call it, we always have something at the back of our minds, which drove us to choose what we do in the first place. Like for me, I always circle back to why I stepped aside from conventional medicine. I did my MBBS and MD from JJ Hospital. So it didn't make sense to many people, but I knew exactly why I was stepping away from mainstream medicine. So I always go back whenever things get a little difficult for me, as in I'm not seeing like the way I thought things would go. If things are not moving, then I always go back and think, why I chose this in the first place, because people ask questions and sometimes we begin to doubt ourselves. People do question our choices. Let's face it, family, friends, ourselves. Um, there are certain tasks we feel we should do, but they drain us energetically. Like for me, posting on social media is extremely difficult. It's something that's never easy for me. Um, so I cut that down. I chose different strategies to grow my work. I chose to spend time investing, connecting with people, getting to know them further, bringing my contribution to them, and I stopped stressing about posting and showing up, which is LinkedIn and social media. So I let it drop in down in my priority list. Where am I out of alignment with what matters? Like I said, we sometimes forget why we are doing what we are doing in the first place. So reconnecting to your purpose is so important, because your purpose, without you realizing, it is there. It is a part of your internal wiring, and it drives, though it motivates you and it drives your actions. So reconnecting and going back there is fuel for your life, fuel for your system. And what small shift could support my well-being? This could be so different from everyone, but what I have noticed is contemplating, like how Delna's asks questions, and she's wanting to relate to things, she's questioning things, not necessarily shooting things down, but just getting to know things in greater depth. So really looking at things, contemplating on things, incredibly builds your self-awareness. it shows you how your inner mechanism is playing out. And then you can start saying that, okay, maybe I am stuck in this thought loop, but you will tell yourself that this is safe. Okay, I am thinking this out whether I should do this or not. But if I do this, then maybe this is the outcome. And then you just do it in spite of whatever is going on in the background. So, with those small changes, you will be able to gain momentum. I hope I'm, uh, I hope I'm making sense. Okay. So something that helps you set the tone for the day. Either you broadly look towards what your day is all about. For some people, lists work. Some people thrive on details and logic, whereas some people are more led by what they feel like. They just need a bird's eye view of things, and then they follow through their broad whatever to do goals for the day, or how they are approaching life. So uh, you can get aware of your process. So interestingly, um, lists could have worked well with me, so I just tried it out. Like, I drew that from a part of my human design chart, and I began writing and making lists, and that to a great extent helped to anchor me to those tasks. It became easier for me to follow through on them. It was a very simple thing of making lists, but for some people, making lists really will go against them because they do not like delving in details and they don't need to. So this is what we sort of decode about ourselves when we use the human design chart. What can really help us, right? Okay. So alignment, we can come back. Alignment is your currency. Alignment is not something, it's not optional, I would say. It is something that optimizes your life, optimizes your system. So I'm huge on alignment, right? So what happens when you find your own processes? Uh, Decision making becomes easy. You stop investing in actions that will not give you a very good output. But none of this is, what do you say, set in stone. This is a broad guideline that we can reflect upon and follow. Relationships, when we're in better health, when we have high spirits, our energy reserves are high, we are well resourced, we will relate to people better. So, have you noticed when you're stressed out, you don't like listening to what someone else has to say? Your system tends to shut down because this is a protective feature of our nervous systems. So, listening is the first thing that goes out of the window. So, that is one way of knowing. When you subtly feel like you want to, you know, go into your shell, want your me time, or cut away from people, it is a healthy behavior. But if it goes to a point where it impacts your work or your relationships, then you can recalibrate there. So, being well resourced, being able to relate to people is one of the things that helps to keep us going, most of us. Okay. Progress becomes meaningful then. So, how, like we said, that, how do we know what was the exact question? Okay. Okay. When you are misaligned, what's a starting point for you to begin to align and become more aware? Okay. So we have something called as the self and the not self in human design. Our emotions or our experience of life at that point in time tells us whether we are in alignment or not. Okay. So not self is when we are draining energy, we are going against our own internal wiring and we are not getting results. So depending on what's your design, you can end up feeling frustrated, disappointed, angry, or you can feel bitter about life. So when you are dealing with this, when your experience of life becomes this, it is a flag saying that you can circle back to how your design is. And when you are in alignment with yourself, you experience satisfaction, you experience peace, you experience success, like you feel successful. Life becomes like, feels like, it pleasantly surprises you. So your experience of life itself is a flag post saying that whether you're in alignment or you're misaligned. So when we open the human design chart, I'll show you how to run your chart. I'll explain the different um, aspects of it from there. Okay, not self. So when you're feeling off, what happens is you're trying to make sense of what life is supposed to be, right? Success, we all have our own idea of what success or what a successful life should look like. So that shows up as in comparison. There are different aspects of your chart where you begin to avoid conflict, or you are trying to prove your worth. You feel the pressure to figure certain things out, or you feel pushed around, like, you can't rest easy till you've finished everything. You compulsively have to finish tasks before you can sit and rest, and even then you find it difficult to rest. So when you have all of these experiences running for you, they are all indicators that you are operating from conditioning. Now, what is conditioning is where you have been told that this is how life is, this is the truth, and you have accepted it. And then you adopt that as a belief, though it is not true for you. I'll just let this sit for a second. Did that land? Did that make sense? Okay, you asked this, that the way we are conditioned, especially women. Yeah, belief systems, right? Generic beliefs, collective beliefs that are very difficult to override. That's a different um, tangent, but yes, conditioning is something that is very pervasive. Like certain families have certain sets of beliefs, certain groups have certain sets of beliefs through by which we abide. So if we are not in our own energy, it can become easy to do things that are going against us, right? So it does cost us. It costs us emotions, time, money, because everything is interconnected, right? When you're investing your time and energy in the correct things, it is giving you a return. But if we are, like not in tune with ourselves, like when I work with people, one thing that I've seen is everyone wants to be able to cultivate their own intuition. And cultivating that intuition is because they want to know where they should put their energies. Okay, okay, that these behaviors depict a not self. Yes. Yes, we'll see much more. Human design is huge. Today is just an introduction. But I hope it does clarify certain things for you. Right? So some of these are patterns. Sometimes our belief systems cause us to adopt certain patterns. If it is in alignment with who we are, with our energy, great. But if it does not, it feels like you have to move mountains to just stick to that one habit. It happens, right? When we're trying to cultivate certain things, we think we need rigid discipline. But if we just relate to things differently, then it becomes easy for us to do that task. Exercising, right? Certain people feel that you should exercise, and so much you have so much advice out there about how you should eat, how you should exercise, how much you should exercise, what should be on your plate. It is so overwhelming. But when you start listening to your own body, your body will tell you whether you have the energy to move and exercise, right? So, or whether your mind is the one, are you stuck in your head, or is your body genuinely tired? So, when we start reflecting, we start relating to our body, we will start observing this. And when you relate to your task differently, when you have a bigger context that I am doing this for myself and this is what it gives me satisfaction, or it gives me peace, you won't actually need somebody to sit to tell you that, or you won't need to push yourself. Hey, Neelam, you said, how does this affect an individual as an entrepreneur? Because as an entrepreneur, the heart, who is at the heart of a venture? It is the individual, right? And if the individual has clarity, has energy, has alignment, they can take on leadership roles more effectively. So the good thing about good leaders is their ability to take responsibility for something other than themselves. So when they give out payrolls, or when they're looking at the impact of their work on the environment, these are the people who are driven by purpose, and they are willing to step in and do something about it. So the more you are in alignment with yourself, the more you will feel um, connected to causes as well. So somebody who's fending for survival, who has to think about bills, will rarely be able to think about contributing. So it's a journey. So that's what we say survival behaviors. The whole idea is to move ourselves beyond survival behaviors to be able to have a vision. Okay, how does your brain react when you consciously take steps to align? Does it resist, or does it go with the flow? This is an amazing question, something that I've been noticing. It's not easy. It's people think, especially like I very typically remember a bodywork patient. I won't say a patient, a bodywork client I had, and we worked on like we worked on the face, like the joints of the face, and I'm sure it has impacted her nervous system. And by the end of the session, she said, I just need a few minutes, just to register that I have been just in survival mode all this while. I've just been pushing myself through and getting by. And what came up was grief. And it had nothing to do with the amount of money that she had, honestly. It is just how we have been wired. And what was relevant 20 years back is not relevant necessarily now. So the brain can react in any way. You can either feel profound grief when you realize that all this time you've been living. Some people feel extremely relieved, some people feel as if a light bulb has gone off and they feel extremely excited. So it can be anything. And does it resist, or does it go with the flow? It is both. It is really both. It is different at different times. It is not a single thing, or it is not a single um, response that you can predict. It all depends on who you are working with, what capacity, what change. Right? So the first and fundamental thing is we feel there's something wrong with ourselves. We feel that, if we fix this, especially the self-help domain, we always, the whole idea, at least mine, and what I have noticed with many people, is we feel that there's something that needs to be fixed. I need to have better discipline. I need to have more courage. I need to be this. I need to be more extroverted, or I don't know. Different people feel different. They need to fix themselves in different ways. But honestly, that's not true. Yes, you might need to gain skills. There's a difference. You might need to gain certain skills, and that's desirable, but does not mean there was something wrong in the first place. So, when you push yourselves to self to do something over time, you will get exhausted and you will eventually give up. But if you love doing something, you will want to wake up every day and do that. Right? So this is the difference between, when you feel that there's something wrong that needs to be fixed, and so you start doing something, and there's something that means something. Like you pick an activity which means something to you, maybe dance, or maybe some hobby, or volunteering somewhere. um if you will want to do it, of your own accord, right? We generally made to feel guilty for doing what is good for ourselves. Yeah, yes, maybe that's your truth. Many people definitely go through this experience, and I have gone through this myself too, right? So, decisions, energy, how you handle yourself in face of an adversity, how much you can sustain your energy, uh, all of this contributes to your success in the long run. We're talking about a long run, not necessarily just short wins, right? So, yeah, what does alignment look like? Um, you know exactly what where to go by this, not necessarily because you are certain, but your own decision making process. You have energy for what you do. Uh, Things generally move at a good pace. So, pace, when things are moving for you, it is definitely a big morale booster as well. And you feel you love the process. You maybe, when, especially at the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey, the first 2 years, or somewhere down the line, you feel ke things are not moving the way they should, returns nahi aa rahe, or you feel ke you really feel that, especially when there are setbacks. But when you are able to take it, like as a part of the process, that will help you go on for the, what do you say, for the long haul. Mm, yes, okay. So far, so good. Like we said, it's not about how much you do, it's not about being busy, but it's about having whatever you do, it makes sense to you, and you like doing it. Like your actions tie in together, they stack upon each other and get you results. Like you said, it's not like about, slogging it out, that the term, which people think, it used to be a virtue a few years back with a certain generation. It's about how, like they said, hard work, don't work hard, work smart, and all of those, you had those um, advice, or anyways, I don't have a word for it, but we had these quotes. So it is about how, when you understand how to run your own internal software, it's like you got a manual for your own self. Human design is something like that, that you start becoming aware of your process, that how do things work for you. Then, when you start becoming and doing more of that, you start seeing greater shifts. Okay. So human design is many things. So let me introduce what is human design. It is a system that was introduced by, Ra Uruhu in 1987. So human design gives you a chart. It combines Eastern and Western astrology. It combines your our chakra system, the Hindu chakra system, Judaic Kabbalah, the Chinese I Ching, and it borrows principles from modern physics, and it gives you a map as to how your inner energy functions. It shows you what you could be struggling with, what you struggle with rather, and what you can change so that it becomes your USP, your strong suit instead. It helps you to recognize how your own energy patterns, and it is more like a tool for getting to know yourself better. So even when something is going on for you, you can tie it back to your human design and you can deal with that situation. Okay, in some time, I'll just draw up a chart so that you actually see what it is. Yeah, Maya Angelou said. So Delna says, people will forget what you said or did, but they will remember how you made them feel. So this tells you that, you do have an impact. Each one of us has an impact. A simple sentence, and in any interaction which might not look something, dramatic, but in small ways, everything is impacting our surroundings. Our surroundings are impacting us, people are impacting us, and we are in turn impacting people. So it is so when you look at yourselves and you tell yourselves that you are here to contribute, you have a unique gift, and your gift spills out and impacts people. You're born on this planet with a gift so that you contribute and you impact. At the end of the day, this is what human design is all about. You have a life purpose. Your life purpose is to live out your gifts. And when you do that, you are definitely going to create change. So it is about getting there. It is about living your life such that you know that you are that impact, right? It is about returning to yourself. Each of us, like I'm saying, I'm not talking about quantum. It could be small, it could be maybe just one person today, it could be a community, right? It and it could spiral into something. Somebody might, be inspired by a little thing and take it to another level. You don't know how the world works. We're so interconnected, right? So it is a structured system of self-awareness. Like Ra said, it's the science of differentiation. So it does not tell you who you should be. Okay, it does not assume you are like anyone else. It tells you that you are you. Each one of us, we have certain shared traits, but you as an individual, the way you can contribute, nobody else can. But we all can come together in a synergistic way and have a positive impact on each other's lives and the world in general. Yeah. Mm. Okay, it's your internal operating system. Like I said, when you have a software, you know how to use the software, your task becomes easy. It's easy to get your job done. Trial and error becomes a little less. Similarly, human design map is sort of a peek into your own internal operating system, your energy pattern, which is determined by your type, your decision making, your strategy and authority can you have a huge impact on your decision making, what you take on and what you let go. Your gate activations talk about your strengths and challenges. Success does not have to cost you. The commonest narrative that people, all of us have lapped up is that if you want to build something, you will have to give up something. So, of course, you have a limited amount of time. In those 24 hours, you have to delegate the hours accordingly. But does not mean that you are missing out on something or you are giving up on something. This is about living a life where everything compounds your experience of life and it's an ongoing process. So, Ra said human design is an experiment. It's not something that tells you that, you should be doing this, this is right, this is wrong. That's not the point. Human design is something you reflect upon, you try it out in your life, and then you see how things have worked for you and you gradually adopt those practices. So, we'll just briefly touch upon type, strategy, authority, and profile. Okay, wait, I'll do one thing. I'll just stop the share and start again. I'll draw up a chart, a human design chart, so that you can also go and do that. And I'll tell you a brief overview of what to look for in your chart. Sounds good?
Yes.
Yes. Excited? I'm just going to share my screen again. And okay. Okay, are you all able to see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is, wait, I'll just type out the website. There are many websites where you can get a free human design chart. I graduated from this school, and this is more of human design. Some interpretation of human design is very that this is how things should be, but we look at it as a tool where we can reflect and we can live that knowledge. It's something we call as embodiment. So it's not just a mental concept, but it is knowledge that you are able to live out. Because I remember something that Shri said once, that knowledge is of no use if it does not set you free. So we don't want this to be some extra jargon and more information for the brains, but something that uh, we can really live and enhance our lives. Okay. Uh, Someone's asked, do you offer one-on-one interactions? I'll give my email, and I in a way that is appropriate to connect through this platform. I think Neelam can guide me. Okay, so this is the website. So I'll just show you. So this is the home. You have something called as free human design chart here, where you pick. It's a beautiful website. It'll give you so many things to start from. So name, I'm just going to put some, okay, let me just drop my chart. Okay. I need 6, or I'll just make it random. Let's just, okay. So you put your birth date, day, month, and year. Then you put your birth time, say 12 some minutes. Okay, so this is your birth time. This is all you need to draw up your chart. Drawing this chart does not cost you anything. Place of birth. Okay, it's close to what is mine. So this is your human design chart. Is everyone able to see? If somebody can just unmute and tell me.
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible? Okay.
Yeah.
So you can download your chart. Okay. You can draw up charts for other people. So something called, so just take a look at this. You see these shapes, you see these channels colored. empty. Then you see these are planetary symbols. You see these numbers, 23.2. So this is number, and these numbers you will see between 1 to 6. You will see these arrows. These are more advanced. Something called as personality, and this is design. So personality tells you about your conscious mind. So these are traits you will become aware of. You will be easily aware of. Design is almost 88 days or roughly 3 months before you were born. This is your subconscious mind or your unconscious mind. You are generally not aware of these traits, but this is something that people notice easily about you. So, have you ever had a time when someone's told you, you are like this, or, this is going on with you, or you tend to do this and it has made no sense to you because you can't see yourself doing that. So, this design aspect is your unconscious. These planets tell you, see, sun is 70% of your being. Sun fuels us, right? So your sun placements tell you about your unique traits, your unique USP. Earth, the sun and the earth, conscious, unconscious, tell you about what is your gift. We call it your purpose. Your incarnation cross is what we say. Earth is what stabilizes you. The north node and the south node. South node tells where you've been, your first 40 years, the theme of your life. North node, what theme are you moving, or what your value system start shifting around midlife. Then moon is what motivates you. Mercury is what you like to talk about, and your design Mercury is how you communicate. What is it's your a non-verbal communication. It sheds light on that. Venus is what you like, aesthetics, or what you value, right? What you like in life. Aesthetics. Venus is more about the beauty of life. Then Mars is about raw energy that you need to skillfully tame so that it becomes a meaningful expression. Jupiter is all about growth and expansion. Your Jupiter gates tell you about what do you engage with, or what is the theme where you can grow. Saturn is about where you need to bring discipline, in the sense what life lessons generically are playing out for you. Saturn, so Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Uranus is chaotic energy. What change do you bring? Chaotic energy is because you are sort of disrupting things. So, what disruption do you bring to the table? Neptune, Pluto is more of, generational and family patterns, more of that. Then there's much more. Okay, so you see, then you see these are your centers, which is nothing but you can relate to your chakras. Are you all aware of the chakras, the chakra system? I'm not able to open the chat box here.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so yes, the website decode in the sense it does not interpret it in detail. No, Havovi, I hope I'm correctly pronouncing it. But it'll give you a chart, then you can look it up online. You can use AI as well, but use it with discretion. Okay? Because it might not be entirely correct unless it has been fed with information before. So this is your head center, Sahasrar, what we call Ajna. Ajna, we're all aware. So head is where you get inspiration, or if it is if it is not colored in your chart, it is where you catch on people's thoughts. So you might feel you are overthinking, or you might feel that you are thinking this way, but it might not be true. And you might be pressured to know the answer. This is typically your head center where you sort of, you're very curious and it drives you. You have to figure it out. Ajna is your decision making. It's how you process data. So when it is colored in, you have a fixed way of processing data. You are very sure, certain about things. When it is white, then those people are generally indecisive, you feel. So you might feel that this person is confused all the time, but that's not true. It's because they don't have the correct way of working with their design in place. This is the throat. This is how you communicate. What is the flavor of your communication? So when people have this defined, it is relatively easier for them to assert themselves. And when it's undefined, they can struggle with being heard. They can talk a lot because they feel nobody listens. So they can get stuck in that not self loop. This is your G center. This is about how you relate to yourself and the direction in life. uh, those who have this colored in or defined are people who are generally very sure of who they are. They never question, they don't have these questions like, who am I actually? They are very sure of where they are going generally. They don't go on that tangent, but and they're generally okay with certain set of people, they have their own belief systems, mindsets. Now, this is not for those who don't have this defined, are generally easy. I won't say easygoing, but they can get along with very different kinds of people. Like they also tend to question themselves a lot, right? The nature of life, the nature of their who they are actually, and it can be difficult for them to know where life is going at times. Then this is your heart, will, ego center. Uh, this has to do with deservability. So many times, people struggle with whether they deserve this or not, unconsciously. So this is where actually a lot of work can be done, for yourself, because when your nervous system is set such that you become comfortable with resources and allocating them, asking for help, support, resources, and knowing that that support will always come in, it's a very huge shift for the nervous system. Okay. Uh, Much earlier on in your talk. Okay. Okay, thank you. But I do believe that laying down a context is also very important, right? Then this is your solar plexus or the emotion center is basically those who have this defined have these emotional highs and lows, right? So I remember doing this reading for this person has his own venture, and while we were discussing, he's like, what happens is sometimes when things don't go my way, I tend to go to the other end of the spectrum, that everything's gonna just fall apart, and then when I look back, I realize that it wasn't such a big deal. So this center can do that, like, really you feel extremely high or you might feel low. So these people need to, give themselves some time before they take a decision. This is why we say that this chart helps you to decide. Those with an open solar plexus center basically are people who feel other people's emotions. If you've heard of empaths, they can be, most empaths have an open solar plexus. So when somebody's feeling something, they mirror it back, they feel it even more intensely. And these are the people who actually might come across as extremely emotional when actually they're actually sort of picking up on the emotions of people in the room. So if they are not people, so they don't like, they don't like confrontations, they like to keep peace. So when people are in the not self because of conditioning here, is when you don't speak up for yourself. You keep adjusting, you keep compromising so that there is peace, but there is no such thing as compromising for peace, right? Sacrals. So most types that you will see are sacrals and non-sacrals. Okay, those who have a defined sacral have a sustained. It's like they're known as generators and manifesting generators. It's literally like having a generator generate energy for you. The non-sacrals generally don't have this, so their energy needs to be managed differently. This is your spleen, intuition, instinct, and immunity. Those with defined spleen have those split second intuitions. Those with an undefined spleen sort of find it difficult to let go of things that are not healthy for them. And this is a root center. Root again is a pressure center. Those with a defined root center have their own waves of or cycles of productivity. Undefined root center, if we don't know, we those with an undefined root center can easily feel that they are being pushed around and they need to compulsively finish certain tasks, even if it's like an automatic thing. So if you feel pushed around at times, it might be that your root center is undefined, right? So it puts things in perspective for us. So there are 5 types, like I said. So this is like generator. So there is generator, manifesting generator, projector. One second, I'll just stop sharing this. Okay, I'll just show you. There's this type. There's strategy for most ease to respond, and there is an inner authority that tells you, like, there are different types for aligned decisions. Everyone has a different process to arrive at a decision. Sacral is a gut feel, right? Signature or the self, when on the right track. For generators, it is satisfaction. So in your chart, your signature could be either peace, it could be surprise, it could be success, or it can be satisfaction, depending on what's your type. Not self, or when not on the right track, is frustration. So for this particular chart, if it is mine, then when I'm feeling frustrated all the time, I have to see if I'm trying to force my way through life. Incarnation cross, your life theme or your life purpose. Okay, it is derived from your sun and earth gates, which tells you essentially what is your, again, USP, life purpose, or what is your beingness. Mm,
I had a question, Dr. Vinny. What does this
yeah,
two color indicates, like the pink and the, I mean, I don't know pink or which color it is,
okay.
and the yellow? Because I saw when I did the chart, I had different colors. Here you have yellow here, right? I had the other
Yeah,
color.
so the chart, the software, you can customize colors. So the person who's made the software for personality,
Yes.
the colors don't actually matter. The fact that there are 2 colors shows you it's
Huh.
a design activation. So gate 4 is actually design earth, right? So you see this here,
Hmm.
Ajna,
Okay.
right? And this is the channel color, if you see. So this is a personality. The yellow is a personality activation. So if you see a lot of design activations. Means now if I had to talk about this chart, I would say that I am having challenges with how my emotions are playing out, because these are design activations. I'm not extremely aware of it, but it is something that other people are able to. So how my emotions are acting out. Plus, it's an undefined center, so it gets heavily influenced by other people around. So unconsciously, I get emotionally influenced by my environment, and it has taken me a good 2 years to reach to this awareness. So it's not the awareness of your chart and how it's playing out for you definitely grows over time, right? And there's just so much more. Like, human design is huge. So Ra
So
says
there's a
that,
question for you
yeah,
in the chat box.
yeah,
Uh, have you taken any time the group sessions, and if is it fun or effective?
yes, I have done it. I have done it for people who've known each other and they jump in and they say that, okay, oh, like I've had mothers and daughters and I've had friends, I've had strangers, and people do relate. So when I have done readings, people have seen that, they feel that they have been validated. The first reaction when you first see your chart is that, okay, somebody sees you for who you are, right? When they start reading the interpretations, it's like many people, many of us, me included, have, felt that, okay, it explains. Like, for me, if you see this, this is slightly advanced individual circuitry. So people with this circuitry are generally, they come across as aloof, they come across as different, the people who don't fit in easily. They are prone to, because they are aloof, it's sometimes difficult for them to engage with people. They see things differently, so it's easier, it's not easy for them to, be a part of a crowd, and then they have their own set of challenges. So when you see that this is a part of your circuitry, you find your way to deal with whatever is going on. You stop seeing that, there's something wrong. Oh my God, there's something wrong and I need to fix this, right? So it comes with a gift. What are the drawbacks of knowing yourself in so much detail? Drawbacks are when you start believing that this is the only truth about you. Definitely, that is a drawback. That's why we see, I've always said, use it to build self awareness, not conclusions about who you are. So, one chart cannot tell you that this is you. You come with so much. The chart cannot predict what experiences you've had in life. The chart can probably tell how you relate to life or how your energy is playing up. So, drawback is when you let it be information, you allow it to tell you who you are, and you stop there. So, yes, definitely there's a drawback. That is a drawback. Other than that, human design beautifully lays out what's off, and when it tells you what's off, you can, begin to work on that. For me, the major thing was I see patterns easily, but the way I deliver the insight is something I needed to learn. So when to keep quiet, what not to say, even if it is for someone else's benefit. I think 3 years or so. I don't really have a timeline. First, I started exploring that, then I went ahead and did my certification. So a good 3 to 4 years, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to start. Okay. All right, so we'd seen the type generator, manifesting generate. Okay, so think about maybe there's a movie set. Okay, so the producer, has maybe a concept. He has an idea that I would like to make such and such movie. Then he maybe finds somebody who can, envision it in greater detail, which is the director. And then there are people who actually begin to act in the movie, build the set, and do the actual work. The director will direct and they will follow, and they will, whatever the producer had in his head then becomes an actual thing. So this is how the types interact. Manifestors are people who have these ideas of things that are not yet there on this plane, and then they can actually bring those ideas and create some new inventions. But the thing is, they don't have the sustained energy to execute it. So they would do well with a team or with people who can help execute. Projectors are your seers. Projectors are people who are able to give you very good guidance because they actually are able to see through you. But the trap is that, when people have not asked for guidance, and if they give guidance, it does not land because it will not make sense to that person. So they can end up feeling bitter. That is your not self. So for projectors, the timing is important when asked, and giving inputs when asked. So when I worked with a projector, she said, Vinny, like all my life, I've just tried giving so much advice to people unnecessarily without them asking, and that used to create so much conflict. So she said that I've had to work. She also like delved into human design. I've had to work to, restrain myself and not just keep giving advice. It can be something as simple as that. Then there is reflectors. Reflectors are extremely rare. So with reflectors, they are, just absorbing and seeing and reflecting back whatever is going on around them. So they reflect what environment they are living in. So reflectors are more like guideposts. Uh, Generators are pure workforce. They are people who have the energy to execute things. So an idea is good, but execution is a different skill set. So generators have the energy to execute, and manifesting generators sort of have ideas and they need to work with the energy a certain way to execute it and bring it into fruition, right? Strategy is strategy is how you conduct yourself. Like I had told, I thought that this is an amazing modality and people would benefit and all, and then I went ahead and did it and I started. So that is initiation. But for most, apart from manifestors, everybody else, the strategy or the way to go about is to respond. So how did I snap out of it? I started seeing what opportunity is showing up in my sphere. So it's not like I decide that I want to do this class and I start announcing classes. That's never worked for me. But when someone asks that, okay, can you do this talk? Okay, why don't you hold a workshop? And then I'll ask them, they want it, I hold a workshop, then other people join in. So for me, that works better. So I have to actively, refrain myself from acting out on ideas. So strategy is how you engage with people around you. So responding, the best way to respond is to look around you. And when I have no opportunities, I just look at my environment, what needs to be done. For me, that's important for me to ground myself. I'm giving you examples so that it becomes easier to relate. Authority is how you make decisions, gut feeling, but not everybody has that as the authority. So with, there are some people who need to actually wait for reflectors say, have to wait for almost an entire lunar cycle for things to become clear to them over time. Then those who have an emotional authority will never be 100% sure. They should be okay that, if they're inclined towards it, that means it's a yes. But they should not be very emotional when they take decisions. Now, how does that play out for entrepreneurs? I had someone who, she has a business where she makes products. And she said, she has emotional authority. She said, when I'm extremely excited about this product, it almost never sells well. She has invested her time, she's invested effort, she's gotten a batch made, but it does not sell well. She said, but when I'm not extremely, attached, or I'm not like feeling very strongly about it, it generally sells out. So this is why authority is important for entrepreneurs. That those with emotional authority need to, like, when they're excited, they might commit to something, but it might not be the best for them. So they have to sleep over decisions. And when they are, at a neutral this and they still want to do it, then they go ahead with it. Those with sacral authority have more of a gut feel that, like the whole body feels like, okay, let's do it. There's no overthinking involved. Some people need sounding boards. They need to talk to the right kind of people. And when they hear themselves, they know that whether they should be doing that or not. Then the splenic authority is where people they have a split second intuition, so they have to start learning to observe and act on intuition. So this is how authority type, strategy, and authority plays out. And these are certain ways in which you can connect to your chart so that it's beyond information. Mindfulness is observing things around you. And why do we observe things around us is because it helps us to respond. It helps us to not live in our heads, but look at what is actually happening and step in where we feel we can, contribute as a solution. Growth, growth, gratitude, and legacy. Growth and gratitude are values we stay with so that we're not stuck anywhere. Like growth is something which keeps you going every day. To show up every day, even if you're not ideally going to get any result, like you don't expect that this will give you a result, but you still, like when you lean into your type and strategy and you feel that you still need to do it, then you grow as a person. Gratitude is essentially rewiring. It helps you see things differently. Like gratitude is nothing but a way to reflect on how what's happening in your life. It's a way to acknowledge and put energies in certain places. It is a way of directing focus on what's working. So all of these are different ways of contemplation. Legacy and purpose. When you connect to your incarnation cross, when you connect to your Jupiter gates, you see why you are here on this planet and what you can contribute as a person. So it helps you relate to life differently. Okay, I'll just take the next few questions. Where am I based? In Mumbai and online. Okay, thank you so much for your invitation. um, okay, all right, and I'm so passionate about human design that I can actually go on and on, but we have to respect the time and the like purpose is something that, like I said, that even when you don't know what you're going to get in return, purpose is something that makes you show up even when things are not going according to you. And trust me, purpose is only what has kept me going, because when I made the switch, people told me I'm crazy. Like, what are you doing, after doing an MBBS and MD? Don't leave the hospital, and uh, uh, what exactly are you doing? And you should be working this way and that way. When I took a break to raise my son, and why? I mean, they like, you've studied so much, what is the use? And there's so much that came my way. But the only reason that I stuck to it, I forgot it at times, but I kept coming back, is the whole idea of me, choosing a medical profession is so that I make people's lives better. But I wanted to make it better, not just do band-aids. And that was like, again, I'm not putting down any one modality. There are people who are doing excellent work, but it is how I wanted to work. That's how my energies are. That's how my functioning is. People are doing a great job making sure people stay healthy, and this is the way I would like to contribute. So purpose helps you remember why you do what you do. Even when things get difficult, you show up. Okay, so yes, I hope you relate to yourself and life a little bit more differently, just a little bit. You see yourself as unique, not something you don't see your uniqueness as something that's wrong, but it's just who you are. Someone else is also who they are, right? And you are here for a purpose. And I hope you commit to yourself so that you also live a fuller life and you're also able to contribute. That is also who you are. And thank you for being so patient, being so kind, and hearing me out. Your time is something that is very precious, and I've done my best to deliver. Um, Okay, how much if like see it depends how much time does it take. It's not really time based, it is dynamics. So of course when there are four people, we pick one thing and we are able to see different aspects. Everyone gives their inputs and we are able to look at one thing from so many different lenses. So but when we work with one person, it's very different. It's more reflective. With other people, there is more insight. And every, whether it's one people, four people, every session is different. Sometimes we look at money from the lens of human design, sometimes it's about self awareness. So it really depends on what someone is looking specifically, uh, what they need help with. And if we can just take a brief Q&A, you all can. Thank you so much.
Yes, we still have 7, 8
Yeah, we
minutes.
can have a
We
Q&A.
can.
Like we still have some time. I wanted to leave out some time. Um, Anything, shoot your questions. Especially about resources, if you have, I'll do my best to give you something to begin your journey. Okay, the website is okay. This is the website. This is one of the websites. But if you see human design, then there is something I'm just giving you the names. Genetic matrix, body graph, chart. So you can there are various websites. These are very reliable. You can draw your human design chart. Then you can begin your interpretation through different, there are many teachers, there are many, what do you say? There are many readers. Everyone has their own approach to it. And we have a very embodied approach. So even if you browse the zenfem.com, you will have a few resources where you can begin understanding your chart. And if you're interested in coming together and exploring this more in a group setting, if like we can get in touch with Neelam and we can do that too. Yeah, Neelam, I'll share my email ID again.
Yes.
Is it okay if I give my WhatsApp number as well, Neelam? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. And this is my phone number and my WhatsApp number. You can drop me a hi and we can have a small group, like for those who have attended today as a thank you. We can have a short, maybe a couple of sessions where I can just initiate y'all, and then y'all can see what do y'all require from human design, and then we can go
Hello.
ahead.
Yeah, can I say something because
Yes.
I'm somewhere outside.
Yeah.
Uh, After the website name, which you said, once we get the basic details from there,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so can then after that can we connect with you for the detailed
Absolutely.
information and study and all,
Absolutely. I do readings as
right?
well.
Right.
I do one-on-one readings as well, and I do group workshops as well. So group workshops
Okay. Okay.
is you get a more broader overview of the various, like say we have types, like we have 5 types. So on one, we go detailed into your type. But when we discuss 5 types also, it's important because then you see that, okay, I'm actually, this is actually how I'm,
Got it.
acting out because of conditioning. So maybe a parent had a different type, maybe a teacher who was very important to you had a different type, and you got influenced and you began acting like or conducting yourself as them. So
Ah,
uh, both have their own merits. So
Okay,
you can,
okay. I'm somewhere outside and it's too
uh-huh.
noisy and I have to hang up now. But
Okay.
it was wonderful attending and
Thank you so
I'll
much.
connect with you further.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Bye.
Bye. Any other questions somebody has? Any takeaways? If nothing, then if you can just share one thing you're taking back from this session, it would be great.
Either you can unmute or you can just put in the chat box.
Yeah, you can unmute as well. You can put it in the chat box.
Shilpa here. So for me, I think this whole concept was new. Like what you had shared was similar about when we reflect, or when we
Yes.
have to observe our patterns, when we have to be okay with whoever we are in that phase, maybe, and not force ourselves to, push in certain
Yes.
ways, or for that matter the societal pressure we are taking upon us.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for introducing this website. It's fantastic. Those who
Yeah.
are actually believe in numerology, astrology, and all the things, maybe they will also would like to visit it. Yeah.
So, okay, just this is not something we are doing to believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are broad archetypes. Now, that is again Jungian philosophy, Carl Jung, if you've heard. Um, it's how these things work through us, how these patterns play out through us. Okay, you can also look at gene keys. So, like how you said, patterns. Now, all those gates, that numbers you saw, every gate has an expression. A challenge expression is the shadow. You might have heard of it. Then that
Mm-hmm.
shadow, what is the shadow? But what that shadow underneath it, what is the gift? And what is the highest expression that that shadow is pointing out to? So you will see that not every shadow is a flaw. It is something that needs to be worked with, some lessons that we need to learn and process and complete so that we start expressing our gifts. When you start expressing your gifts, you're also doing, you're living your best self. Your relationships also begin to improve, and your impact on people around you and community also improve. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so
Dr.
much. Yeah.
Vinay, I mean, Maniji has asked, is this Saturday possible for you to do one-to-one session? So
For a
just,
one-on-one, can you please
Hi,
just
hi.
connect? Oh,
Yeah, hi. No, very good. Very nice, huh, Vinny?
thank
A
you so
lot
much.
of, it's a new concept for me. So it's quite exciting. I'll WhatsApp you and then
Yes,
we'll
please
just
WhatsApp and then we
coordinate.
can figure out,
Perfect. You
a good
just see,
time.
yeah, Saturday for me, the whole of Saturday is free.
Sure, sure.
So we'll
Please.
coordinate something. Perfect.
So when we work, we have certain, we get to see first that where exactly do we want to uh, work? Like, is it work? Is it relationships? What are we dealing with? So we build our awareness then accordingly.
So only
So
one session. So whatever you can pack into it.
one session is
But I don't mind whatever it will say, it'll take 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, I don't, that's okay.
so there is, see, one
Uh,
session is just a reading. Okay. Um, that that one session reading you're saying takes time because I have to study your chart. Generally, when I work, we have weekly sessions, a few sessions, so that we begin tying everything together, and then
अभी उतना नहीं कर सकते too old to change. You do one deep session, that is good. You
okay,
whatever
sure,
you want beforehand, I'll send you. If you want some
all
details,
right,
you come with
okay,
your this thing and just
okay, cool.
do that. Yeah,
So, just we can
I'll
connect.
WhatsApp you.
Sure, sure.
Then you
Thank you so
ask
much.
me whatever you
Thank
want.
you so much. I
Okay,
think our
good.
time is
Nice.
up.
So
yeah,
thanks,
yeah, it's about,
Shilpa, and
Yeah,
Thank
you
thanks,
you
can.
for
Neelam,
joining in this. Yeah.
for
We can stay
doing
in
this.
touch and I
So
can
let me just give
connect
you
you to
some,
socials.
um, some general suggestions maybe to Shilpa and Neelam here. That
yeah.
what I'm finding is that on Zoom sessions, very few people come, right? Because everyone is so strapped for time, and we're really struggling to try to figure out how do we get more participation in Zoom sessions? So my conclusion, not for Vinny's session, but my conclusion generally, so it's more for Shilpa and for Neelam, that put the PPT out beforehand and make the Zoom session more Q&A. So what will happen is that people who are interested in it will, reschedule and will attend. Otherwise, now it's like I was just curious. Okay, what are Shilpa and what is Idobro doing this week, and hence I logged in. Otherwise, I also would not have taken the trouble to do so. So just need to think a little on that because this is a struggle which all of us are facing. But thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa. I have not spoken to you, but I believe you're, on the panel with Neelam and put it on the hard
Yes,
work.
yes.
So thank you, Shilpa. Thank you, Neelam. Thank you, Neelam, especially so much for having this trust in me. We've not interacted on human design before, but you've just heard about my work and you heard about people talking about it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for your
Thank
time.
you.
I'm really honored that you all took the time out and came here. Yeah. Thank you so much, Delnas, for being such an amazing participant. You've been very involved. Havovi and Ankush, though we didn't hear from you, but thank you. You've also been here. I generally ask for this on because I love having faces, knowing who I'm connecting with. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I think I'll
Thank
log off now.
you.
I will be short and
Yes, we'll end the session. Yeah.
hopefully
Thanks,
we'll
Vinny. Thanks
meet
for your
again
time.
soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.